Welcome, Arnaud. Welcome to Digiton.
Thank you.
So you were a presenter today in our conference.
Sure.
You held a session. Can you give us some insight on what it was?
So the session was about landed cost module. It was an overview how this module can help you to improve your inbound processes, give visibility on the costs and the deliveries.
Nice. So can you give us a short overview of who is Arnaud, what kind of activity you have in Rollout at the moment, in which activities as a consultant you are involved, in which projects, in general, just a short overview.
In general, so I'm Arnaud Sodji. I'm a Dynamics consultant since 10 years. I'm currently working at Mateco IT. It's a Belgian company that is renting and selling equipment for constructions. And my current activities are rollout, meaning go to different legal entity and implement a core model.
So you travel a lot to different countries.
Yes, indeed.
As a rollout consultant that is in this business for some time, I guess, because we are also co-workers on the current project, and I know that you are already a few years on the project doing rollout, so you have some experience in it. From your personal perspective, what is a successful rollout and what is a better rollout?
So according to me, a successful rollout it is when the core model that you deliver, it helps the end users and the key users and the company in general, and also when you manage to adapt this core model to the needs of the specific company you are in, because even if you have a core model to deliver, you always need to adapt it to specific local requirements.
Yeah.
So that's according to me a good rollout. It's when you manage to adapt to a specific local requirement, and a bad rollout it is when unfortunately you do not meet the basic requirement of the user.
Yeah, when it goes sideways and then you end up in a hypercare that should be like 1-2 months tops. It's 6 months per year.
And it's 6 months because the happy flows are not met, and even the complex flows not at all.
The requirements weren't gathered well, they weren't processed well, the trainings weren't there, so the whole structure. In your current role, what makes one consultant? What traits do you need to have? Knowledge, experience, let's put it like that. A full package of a rollout package, let's say it like that, for traits, knowledge, experience to be one successful consultant. What kind of a profile you need to be to meet the challenge of a successful rollout consultant?
So first of all, you need to have a basic or deep knowledge of the solutions. I think knowing the solution, knowing the different features that the solution can offer, it's a huge help. Secondly, you need to have a knowledge about the different activities and the different methodology that we are using. As a rollout, you need to know what is UAT, you need to know what is gathering requirements, you need to know those elements. So knowing the solution and knowing the methodology and the approach we are using, that's the two main skill sets.
As we are also in the same business, what kind of solution do you prefer? You think it's better when the client decides that they will implement standard dynamics as much as possible in their rollouts, or they revert to more of customization, so customized solution, than deciding to take the standard solution? What are the pros and cons if you compare of the two? Which is the preferable model with which the one, as you put it, as a core solution by which the rollout should be performed afterwards?
From where I stand, I prefer to get as close as possible close to the standard, because doing so you are evolving with the solution. We are lucky enough to have a solution that is evolving a lot with platform update quite recent and all the platform updates are linked actually to business processes that are coming from the business. So if you are following up the standard, the best practice, it reduces the technical debt, it reduces the complexity, it reduces the bugs you can have. So according to me, the best approach is to get close to the standard.
Yeah, to be the business processes to be standardized as much as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, we all know that customizations, with time, they are becoming obsolete, and you need to constantly adjust the solution, introduce new code inside. So basically, what the platform update does, you need to also evolve your customization so that it follows. But yeah, that's a bit pitied because you are not utilizing the full potential of the standard solution that is offering. From your perspective till now on this project, previous projects that you have done as a rollout consultants, what are the biggest mistakes that are done in one rollout that you think should be avoided, and how they should be avoided from your perspective?
I think the biggest mistake is all the decision that leads to cut down one piece of the project. For example, some project you notice that one requirement was missed during the analysis, and you are now in UAT and you are discovering a whole new process. It's better to take time at that moment, even if it will delay the project. It's better to take time and to address it and to do it properly than to be really narrow-minded and saying, no, we need to follow up and we need to deliver at the right time, and then unfortunately you have long hypercare and issues.
Do you think that change management is really important in this situation? Because from today's lectures, what we also heard, the change management is also very important in the managing, because you start with one MVP like core that was agreed, and then during you're in more advanced stage in the rollout, let's say you're performing the UAT, and after the UAT, I don't know, the go live is planned 1-2 months after it, and the user starts, all the users, the key users start with adding up new requirements to the process, like we cannot go live without this needs to be incorporated in the current solution, so it threatens to derail the rollout. What do you think about these situations? How those should be managed?
I think
what kind of a structure needs to be activated? What kind of mechanisms needs to happen at that moment to manage this situation?
I think the steering committee, as you know, we are using that a lot in this project and in other projects also. Those committee needs to be the place where architects, technical consultants, and also business process owner from the customer align, also share their views, and also compare what is really important for the business, what are the core business processes that we need to cover, and what are the nice to have. And
if you face a situation where you got that kind of requirements and that threatens to derail or delay the project, and you need to handle that situation, can you share some knowledge, know-how, or experience from your personal view, how you manage that? It will be also
I
an added
remember
value
that
for
those,
our audience.
when it happens, I always refer to the architect or to the project manager, and we need to really analyze, is it a core business or is it a nice to have? And if it's a nice to have, we can deliver it in a future release. You know, when you go live, then you can also release some feature afterward. And most of the time, it is what is done. And for some few exceptions, if it's a core business and we cannot avoid it, then of course it will delay the go live.
Do you think the BPMs should play a big role in this to manage these situations?
I think they are playing a huge role because they know their business processes, and they are the ones that can really highlight if it is a core element or if it is just nice to have.
Yeah, that's very important to have the structure in place. Also, what I'm thinking is very important to have good key users in the positions. A bad key user is also a big threat to a successful go live, I would say. Did you have situations where the key users weren't proactive, they weren't in favor, they were more to like they want to perform some kind of delay or derail the go live, they would not accept the solution? What would you say about uncooperative key users? How you should handle them? I guess you face that kind of persons.
Sure. But most of the time, uncooperative key users is because they want to do exactly the same thing. They don't want to change the way they are working because they think that the way they are working is the most efficient and they don't want to change. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to copy all the elements they are doing in the legacy system to the new one. And most of the time, it is not possible. So in this case, change management and training, that's the main key, that's the key elements to solve this issue.
From my perspective, the key users, let's say, they're playing a vital role. They will need to be the support, and to have all the knowledge. Do you face users where when you train them, they say they will do it in one way, but they're actually doing it the other way, or they see the new solution as a threat and they don't want to accept because as you said, they want to do it in the old system, but you're offering a more optimal system that will drive their business process much faster on a daily basis. They will be more, because they're threatened sometimes because their workplace could be also in jeopardy. What would you say to our audience, how they should cope with these users? What is the best approach? Should you be more communicative with them? Should you be more emotional, or sometimes you should be more strict?
No, I think the best approach is to show the value added of the solution, because at the end of the day, what they want is to keep working and to keep giving value to what they are doing. So if you show the value added of the solution, most of the time it works, and then they adapt to the new solution.
Yeah, that's good. We know that the go live is successful at the first moment when one flow goes in the system environment, and you're happy that it's go. What do you think about the hypercare period? Is it very important that it's also conducted in a nice manner where you are constantly with the users, you give them support, that you guide them so that they, it's another thing when you're doing UAT where you're simply testing, but it's still not the real thing.
When
the real thing happens. What would you say, how one consultant should be in this situation?
I think the hypercare is a key part of the project. It is when you need, as you said, you need to support your end user, your key users, and also it's good to rely on good key users because they have a role really important during hypercare. They need to gather the small issues and only bring to you the real pain points. And it's important to be focused on the real pain points and not to be constantly answering questions to how do I click here, how do I click there. It should be the key users answering the day-to-day questions, but the real pain point should be addressed by the consultant.
For you, a successful hypercare is at the moment when the users already know what they do, and if they face an issue, they know how to handle it. They already have the tools, the mindset built inside the system. Is that for you that the rollout is a success and the hypercare is closed, and now they can move on their own in the system? Is that the breaking point when you say, okay, now the rollout is done and we can go to the next one? Or what is the finishing point where you say, now it's done?
The finishing point, according to me, it is when they are autonomous, and if they have issues, exactly they know how to deal with it. But to go there, you need to have proper documentation, and I think as a consultant, to have training materials, to have, as we do, some step-by-step, and that we hand over to them. It's also an important tool, and it's a very useful tool indeed.
Do you find let's talk about a bit of the challenge of the rollout. Do you find the rollout to be more easier if it's only allocated in one application, or if there are multiple applications that are linked like one integrated solution, for example, to handle one business process, let's say to procure something, you need to go to 2 or 3 different applications which are also integrated via middleware, communicating via different interfaces. Is that a bigger challenge of a rollout, or is it a bigger challenge if you simply have FO as a core application and everything is handled via FO, and all the different applications that are coming with Microsoft with the current FO solutions? That what is a more challenging and rollout, let's say?
So in an IT ecosystem, the more it is diverse, the more it is a risk, because the middleware, the integration, the more you have application, the more you can have issues.
Yeah.
So I will say that the ideal scenario is indeed to have everything in the FNO solution, but this is really never exist. You always have integration, you always have third-party solution that you need to deal with, and it gets complexity in the process.
If you need to compare of the different areas, let's say that where we do rollouts, what would be the most challenging business area where you need to implement and reform a rollout?
It's a complex question.
Is it finance, supply chain, manufacturing?
In every area you can have issues. It is more about the industry of the customer. If the customer is doing it is a simple wholesaler, then the complexity will be maybe on the finance part, because the order to cash or procure to pay processes are quite simple. And on the other hand, if you are dealing with a manufacturer, the difficulty will be everything related to the operations. It can be quite complex if it's a manufacturer doing his own operation, running his own manufacturing plants and so on. So I would say it depends on the industries of your customer.
Yeah, from my experience, if I might add also, the finance background is always the biggest blocker, I would say. You can have the perfect module set up on a process, but if the finances are not okay in the background, it's immediately a delayer, or it will delay everything. So yeah, as you said, Dynamics is an integrated solution. Everything works as one. So we need to make sure that everything is in place, so all the different modules are in place. So yeah, can you give one personal summary from your end of, based on your projects that you have in the background, what would be the ideal scenario of a successful rollout?
So a successful rollout, according to me, it is first of all a nice plan where you have all.
What are the key stakeholders that need to be there? They need to always. What kind of a communication should be in place? What model would you recommend?
So I recommend a hybrid approach, meaning you have first of all the right plan. So you do the analysis, you confront it first of all with a CRP, the conference room pilot, to confront the standard to the business, so they can come back with their differences, the standard. Then you can do the designs, you can build the solution, test it, do the UAT, and then train, and then do the actual go live. And so the plan is important, but also the right person, as you said. It's good to have on the customer.
Which phase would be the most important? If you need to, or all the phases are equally important?
According to me, the analysis and the UAT are the two key elements. If you do a good analysis and then you test it properly during UAT, your rollout is a success. But if the analysis is not deep enough, if the tests are not thorough enough, not just the happy flow, but you really test all the business processes. If you are not doing that, then it will be you will face issues. Let's say.
From all the projects that you had as a rollout consultant, what would you say that, from your personal perspective, was project done by best practice, and what is projects where a lot of lessons learned came out of it? You don't have to mention any names.
Sure.
Just a general summary.
I will say when you respect the best practice, it's easier in terms of planning, because you know what will come, and that's really a value added. And indeed, when you are squeezing some phase, okay, saying okay, UAT we don't need it because we expect that all the processes are standard and so on. When you expect
that the users know everything,
exactly,
but they're not trained into it.
Exactly. When you expect instead of asking questions, this is where you have issues, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. And from your personal perspective, what is next for Arnaud Sodji? Continuing with rollout, or you want to focus again on more standard dynamics?
I think to me, rollout is what I want to do. Focusing on rollout, but rollout it can be standard dynamics. You know, when you do rollouts, you are also learning new features and suggesting to the core model new features. So according to me, rollout is.
How do you see the future of Microsoft rollouts of ERP, of like Dynamics, FO? Business Central doesn't matter, but all the ERPs that are coming. How it should be more done like an ecosystem where it is integrated solution using different power apps that come with from Microsoft and everything to function. Like for example, you start with C, then process everything in FO, and I don't know, then you use some external power app that will automate some of the process. Or we should keep the current model as it is and continue with third-party solutions where...
I think the more and more we will evolve, the more and more we will leverage, as you said, the power apps. For example, if you take an order to cash process, you start in CE, and then for the invoicing part, you will use an invoice capture power app to capture the invoicing. If you work with supply chain to optimize, for example, the master plan, you will use some AI tool coming from the Power App platform and services like the planification, optimization, and so on. So I think the more and more we will go, the more and more we will leverage all those applications from the Dynamics platform.
So from your point of view, the future should be where if you want a successful and more easier rollout of Microsoft Dynamics ERP, it should be done using the best practices of Microsoft.
Exactly.
And that is the power apps that come with it, and basically mold your processes in those apps and use it as it
exactly. That is
and
what I think.
Less and less to be done with third-party applications, except where if it's a specific industry where we don't have, Microsoft doesn't have like solution or application that is with more possibilities to cope with the process that comes with it, then they should look into a third-party application and how they can integrate it into...
Sure, exactly. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for being our guest today, answering our questions in this podcast. We hope to continue the collaboration with you. You're a nice guy.
Okay, I really liked to be invited, and the Digital conference is very enriching experience. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for everything, and we'll come back to you with new topics in the future. Thank you.